not for only some of us, but for all of us. You will make a huge difference.
Danny Jordan extolling the virtues of Patrice Motsepe, who is one of the candidates in next year's CAF presidential election, which takes place in Morocco in March. Pat, if the best person to look after a confederation or an association an ex-footballer who, quote, understands the game, or is it a businessman who knows how to build these connections that Danny Jordan was talking about and strengthen the association or organisation that way?
Right, number one, that's the interview, man. Well done. Getting right in there and making the points and not backing up. That's a superb interview. Loved hearing all you had to, and making them answer as many of the questions as you could. Now, your question, should it be an ex-footballer or should it be a businessman? I honestly believe it should be the best man stroke woman for the job. That's it, full stop. In the end, it would be nice to tick that box to get an ex-footballer to do it, but if that's not the best person for the job, this is too important. You need to get the right people in. It's gigantic what's going to go in. The difficulties that all football's having, but African football particularly just now, but where they have to go now, this is a massive moment, and I really guess in that crowded team that you're talking about, to make the right decision. Sadly, I couldn't tell you who the right one is now, but I hope that the decision is made with the right ideas. It's not made by, someone suggesting they're going to do favours for other people. You get the best person to push forward.
But speaking of a crowded field, Danny Jordan made the very good point that it's a crowded field of priorities for governments. They have to decide whether money goes to hospitals and universities and building things, or whether it goes to football. And, football, I suppose, quite rightly, is down that list. So that's why it's important, isn't it, for outside investment to come in to African football and sort of take up that slack.
Well, I think, in order to progress, and I think that we have talked so many times about what progress means. It means doing better in big tournaments, but also in football, and in Africa, certainly women's football has been neglected. There's so many wonderful players there. There's so much wonderful talent and opportunity for national teams to do well in big competitions. So it seems like it just needs better leadership and organization. I think if there's one word to kind of describe, at least on the women's side, it would be underdeveloped. I think that it's an untapped well of incredible footballers. So hopefully this is just a next step in the journey for African football, and I hope it turns out to be a successful journey.
You're listening to World Football on BBC World Service. I'm Manny Jasny, Pat Nevin and Heather O'Reilly are here as well. And this week, the Germany and Real Madrid midfielder Toni Kroos spoke out against the packed football calendar by claiming that players are just puppets of FIFA and UEFA. He was speaking on a podcast he co-hosts with his brother Felix, who's also a professional player, and went on to say that new competitions like the Nations League and expanded Club World Cup suck out everything financially and, of course, physically as well from every single player. In Europe alone this week, there were friendlies, Nations League games and European Championship playoffs. Kroos also rejected the idea of a lucrative European Super League, saying that it would widen the gap between the biggest clubs and everyone else. Heather, is football in danger of losing the interest of most of its fans by saturating them with too many games?
Well, I think that I agree with Kroos in some of these statements, and I disagree with him in a lot of others. I do think that players are being asked to play a lot of games, but they're also being paid a lot of money. And so I think that, there's always this constant argument that the players are being pushed in, and that the calendar is way too saturated. And, I think that that's a question for sort of sport science folks when the demand is too much, but I do feel like these players are being paid a lot. There's an expectation for matches to be played, but at the end of the day, these teams and these clubs can have large rosters, can play some of their younger kids in order to sort of spread the load. So I think that he was being a little bit harsh on that.
Now, if a fan was to say that these players moan about having too many games because they're being well paid, a player or a manager would say, oh, well, you don't understand what's like in football. But Heather speaks with the authority of one who does, Pat. Do you agree with her?
Yes, you'd be surprised to hear there's probably doing that. Lots of things here. Got too many games, absolutely. Yeah, a guy used to say this many years ago that his team used to take him all around the world and he'd play too many games and he'd get himself to it. First guy thought about that time the war. 1950s, he was saying that, right? So it's always been the case, right? The problem you've got is if the players that are getting paid vast amounts of money, particularly now, Tony's one of them, you feed the beast. How do you feed the beast? You get the money out. How do you get the money out? You show more games, you play more games. It's a circle that everyone can point to everyone else in. So it has to have someone that's standing above it to say, right, okay, that's actually stupidly too much. I think the people in the end that will make the decision are the fans. The fans will decide it. I think the fans are think about friendlies anyway. They're not interested in the international friendlies anymore. And the TV people are getting this into people were watching them. There was too much television. They had to be meaningful. So I understood what they were doing. But where are the players puppets? Are the players cash cows? Yeah, always have been. So it's always a struggle between the two. We've gone too far the other way at the moment. Hasn't that always been the case, Mark?
Finally to Italy this week, where unfancied Sassuolo are flying high. And they're second in the league and the division's joint top scorers. It's only their 8th season in Serie A, and the team has never finished above 6th. Their surprisingly good start has happened despite numerous positive COVID cases, which recently deprived them of their first choice forward line against Napoli. Boom, they beat anyway. Much of the success is down to their 41-year-old coach Roberto Di Zerbi. He's another disciple of Marcelo Bielsa's, and according to midfielder Pedro Obiang, apparently just as obsessed with football.